Welcome to Imperial Interlude. In this week's episode, we are going to talk about Atomic Mass Games' MiniStravaganza. Oh, great, I got that out of my way. With me, as always, is Ralph. Hello, Ralph.
Tim, yes, you did. That's a tongue tie.
Try saying that 3 times, especially if it's not your native tongue. It's horrible. I can't even write that thing without...
I was thinking more the fact is just trying to say it once after a large and copious amount of alcohol. There you go.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I'm fine by then. With enough alcohol, I'm speaking every language under the sun.
Yeah.
So they teased us, and at Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and before we begin, we're going to perhaps spoil current running TV shows that you might have not seen. So The Mandalorian and The Bad Batch and whatever is running. If you're still behind your schedule on rewatching those, don't listen to this. There are potential spoilers ahead. And also, Atomic Mass Games, please, can we have Star Wars Epic Legion 6mm mass battle games? Yes, thank you. Okay, now, so, for those who don't know, Atomic Mass Games is the current manufacturer of X-Wing, Star Wars Armada, Star Wars Legion, and Marvel Crisis Protocol. Currently, they are only doing X-Wing, Legion, and Marvel Crisis Protocol. Armada is development-wise in a hiatus, but they said they will still do reprints, so it's not cold dead, but they just don't... They acknowledge that they lack the manpower to develop 4 games at the same time, which is reasonable.
I think I'm wondering with the way that Armada is anyway. I'm wondering if that's a difficult game to develop for.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it is, especially if you think that
compared to X-Wing and compared to over X-Wing, between the two space battle games, I think Armada's probably the more difficult one to try to develop for. I think,
especially since the amount of ship types you could potentially field from that universe are rather limited in stark contrast to what has been made for fighting fighters in that universe.
Yeah, there's a very limited number of capital ships.
Yeah,
a vast majority of them look like giant wedges in the space, but that's...
Imagine they weren't grey but yellow.
Yeah.
That would be a very cheesy army.
It is. You could have a multicolored one, and then you'd have your Trivial Pursuit wedges.
Oh, God. Quest for Space.
I digress. Sorry. I do.
No worries. So they started on Friday with a...
They started Thursday.
Yeah, okay, so... The thing is, they start on a Thursday evening, late night.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was quite late. Because I was watching one part of it last night. I was watching them paint a figure, which we will talk about for Legion.
Yeah, that was the part with the tease that caught me off guard, and I think everybody else as well. The first thing they showed off for Legion was a painting session, and they painted a miniature that we didn't know existed, which were the what you call again? Pikes. I always forget the name of those bloody things.
Yeah, which we saw originally in season 7 of Clone Wars.
Yeah,
we might have seen them earlier on that, but the first recollection I've got is season 7 is the 4-part Ahsoka.
And more recently we've seen them in the Bad Batch as main protagonists.
Yeah. So it was what's going on here? Because I think the title of it was Into the Underworld was the title of that stream.
Yeah.
So I thought, mercenaries, are we getting a new Bobber? Is there some new Mandos coming? Are they planning on something? And
yeah, and at that point,
that's right.
Yeah, and at that point they only showed the Pikes and were a bit short on words, which a theme they kept to the very end. So there were some 2-word announcements very late on that had some people go up the walls, I think.
Wasn't there a trailer though before the painting? Didn't that
In
show
the
tease?
live stream, they did a trailer for this new upcoming faction / battle box / subfaction, whatever you're going to. They end up getting to call it because that isn't finalized, as I understand. So we've seen pictures of Darth Maul with mechanical legs, so the resurrected one. We've seen what is supposedly Prince Shizor.
It's not.
It's not, but it's one of his race.
It's one of his race. It's a Feline, but it's not Prince Shizor. Yeah. Shizor still is Legends at the moment. The race isn't. The race has turned up in canon books and stuff like that anyway, the Feline. But Shizor as a character it's not him. And they've said, and I looked at the picture that they've used, and then I went on to Wikipedia to look at the character, and it's not Shizor. It's the Feline that you see with all of the other criminal guys when Maul's in charge of Mandalore.
Yeah, Shizor is a bit more slim,
lithe.
Yeah. And the other ones, they were visible in that short trailer were some Mandalorians with very spiky helmets.
Yeah, as were nicknamed the Maul DeLoreans. But actually, the Mandalorian Super Commandos is what they're called.
Yeah, so we're getting a lot. We're getting a lot of Mandalorians, and I think that's about it. If I haven't forgotten something, I think
that's all that was shown in the trailer.
Yeah.
And then you had the title of it, which was the Shadow Collective, which is the name of Maul's, or is it the name of Maul's criminal organization? Because I don't think it was ever named.
If it was named, then it was on short notice on some side quest or something.
I don't remember it ever being named, but I could be wrong. But I'm wondering whether the name he took was the name of the criminal organization that Voss ran in Solo. Dryden Voss.
According to Star Wars Wiki, the Shadow Collective was the criminal alliance and rival Sith Lord Order founded during Clone Wars by the rogue Sith Lord Maul.
It was called the Shadow Collective. I didn't know if it was given an actual name.
Potentially yes, but maybe they didn't use it all the way.
Yeah. So we are getting a. By the sounds of it, and we mentioned this before, the thing is, it sounds like you're going to be able to use these in two ways. All of the separate boxes, because it looks like the Shadow Collective is actually coming out as a box.
Yeah, what they called a battle box.
A battle box with
Battle
those.
Battle Force
with
something.
Battle Force was the other thing. It's just basically a starter box without the rules, by the sounds of it. And it is the Pike, Maul, Mandos, and the Feline together in one box. That's what it sounded like to me. I could be wrong that they're doing separate. That they're doing.
No, that's quite what I got from that.
Yeah. And each of those factions has a card, which is their unit card, which says on it, one of the upgrade cards has like the leader on it for that faction, and it has the wording independent, which means it could be used as a mercenary unit with anyone. I don't think they're faction specific for being used
could be very interesting. Having units that can be hired by any other faction in the game could potentially lead to very interesting synergies.
Yes, and I think that's how they're playing it the first way. But I also, from what I could glean, but they weren't very clear, that you can pick one of those leaders or use the Maul character as the leader, because he's getting a new card for the Shadow Collective, and run the Shadow Collective as a faction. So run a scum and villainy faction, pretty much.
You can do that, but then if you have different factions within it, so you're saying you have a Pike leader leading the faction, other sub-factions won't take orders.
No, so they have to run the leader card with that with that unit to run orders. So you can take
which
orders.
then again can lead to very interesting effects on the board.
Yeah, which then denotes, and we know this is happening, that they mentioned this in a later stream, and we'll circle back around to what they showed, but there's going to be a collection of reprinted cards, stat cards for some of the characters that fall under the Mercenaries banner.
Yeah, we might as well just jump ahead on that. So they confirmed that Boba Fett, Bosk, and what's his face? Cat Bane.
Did they say Bane, did they?
Yes, they said Cat Bane. So
yes.
These 3 already existing miniatures will get new cards, so they can be used in these new Scum and Villainy factions.
Yeah. Which is really interesting, because I'm assuming what you might be able to do then is use these as potential lead commander.
Yes.
Commanders. So you could have a Scum force run by Boba Fett.
Or by Bosk.
Or Bosk, or even Cad. Cad Bane would be an interesting one.
Yeah, and later on they also confirmed that there will be an IG-88 also getting a card and an appearance. Yes.
Which, from that, and this leads into TV and things as well, as we the rumors, and we've talked about this, that the Book of Boba is going to have all of the old bounty hunters, or some of the old bounty hunters, come in. That then opens that up for them to produce, say, Azukas, Forlorn, Dengar miniatures, to then enter into this mercenary faction. Here's one which might be an interesting one as well, is if they decided to do a young version of Boba.
Well, we know from a later stream that they were going to do a old Boba.
Yes.
The one that is in the Mandalorian, and the miniature they showed, or rather the render of it, looks really nice.
Yes.
So I'm guessing.
I was saying to my missus last night, do you know what they want to do? Fantasy Flight is go to like Skullforge or Darkfire Designs, or all these modelers that are out there, and just go, do you want to come and 3D render?
Yeah, but I don't think that Fantasy Flight would do that. I think you meant AMG.
Yes, I meant AMG. AMG, yeah, not Fantasy, but that's AMG. Go to these 3D modelers that are out there, going, do you want to come and render and model?
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting, because they are also confirmed that from the Mandalorian they would get the Child and the Mandalorian, and also IG-11. I'm guessing potentially now the 3D print space will get some kind of watchful eye from the mouse.
Maybe. We don't know. We really
don't know. We don't know, but I'd be a bit worried if I were a sculptor that has done these miniatures, and all of a sudden they're getting official releases.
Yeah, you can see all of those online stores actually pulling their versions.
Yeah, but we'll see.
We'll see. This is until end of 2022. They said, didn't they?
Yeah, maybe the mouse has done the maths on this and said, yeah, we are winning more players by ignoring the fact that there's copyright infringement and giving them choice. And if we were to shut them down, we would lose potential players and would need to invest money into lawyers. So we're not going to bother.
Yeah, I think the mouse knows what's going on, and the mouse is like,
as you said,
better the devil you know. They haven't gone the Games Workshop route. Let's put it that way.
Not yet. And as you said, potentially there would be the possibility that there would be a letter coming in saying, hey, you're using our designs, and we would rather you not sell those, but we would be willing to buy that from you if you were made us a reasonable offer.
Yeah, or come and would you like to work as an independent sculptor for us?
No, I don't think that they would go that far for the most of them, but I think the more
prevalent ones.
The ones if there's somebody who did a very good one-off of any character, they would buy that design and leave it at that. And
yeah, well, we don't know. We really don't know.
that's
the space
all
is going to get
hypothetical
changed.
and wishful thinking
is.
on our part. In an
It is.
optimal world, in where we
But they
can all
did
live in peace.
they did show off a set of vehicles as well.
The swoop bikes,
The
yes.
swoop bikes, which look really nice.
Which I was a bit baffled by, because they said, yeah, everybody was talking about swoop bikes, and nobody was talking about swoop bikes, at least nobody I know.
I think, it'd be from the community forums and things. There is a vocal minority on the community forums, isn't there, that wants X, Y, and Z.
Currently, there is no official community forum.
No. That's true.
Currently, there's just the rules forum.
And a bunch of Facebook groups.
Yeah, getting back on my pet peeve that AMG have a crappy homepage, they also addressed that there will be a new homepage coming soon-ish, so I'm hoping they will get their shit together before the end of the year.
Yeah, hope so. What else? They showed the swoops. They showed the render of old Bobber wrecking face with a gaffy stick, which looked really nice, actually. It did. It looked really, really nice. They showed what's interesting from what they showed as well as the maul that we're getting, the new maul. Yeah. That's the Darksaber and a single-bladed lightsaber, or you can put a double lightsaber in.
Yeah, and you'll get both versions in one box, so you could potentially give him the double-bladed saber and the Darksaber.
I was thinking that.
Oh, they actually talked about that on stream. One of the developers said, yeah, I built that with Darksaber and dual-bladed, because if you have more, why not?
Exactly, but it's also the fact is, even though you might not be able to field the double-bladed lightsaber and the Darksaber in the game, as a mini on the table, it's going to look really nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to look awesome, especially if you're able to do decent object source lighting.
Yeah,
the contrast of the Darksaber and a lit lightsaber is just stunning, I guess.
What's interesting as well is if you sort of watch AMG's paints, their painting streams they do, which are really interesting, some of them. And they've been running Crisis Protocol games and stuff like that. And this is one of the ones, because they ran one yesterday and they had the Hulkbuster and stuff. That's a chunky mini. It looks really nice. It really does look nice, actually. They've done a really good sculpt on the Hulkbuster, but they painted it as the black and gold stealth armor that Iron Man had in the comics. Which then, they've done that on a lot of their different minis. They've painted up like different versions. They've kit bashed and they've showed off their own kit bashes where they had like Star-Lord with the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, and they also did what I totally forgot. After they teased the new miniatures, they did a playthrough with them, the new faction.
Yeah,
which I found particularly interesting, since, well, we don't know anything about these minis, and now you're showing off how they work in battle. Are you mental?
So from a, they've done some kit bash and stuff and showed it off, which means then you could take your Maul and paint him like a Jedi and do a what if Maul would turn deep good. You can have fun. What I'm saying is, as painters and as hobbyists, you can have fun with these minis.
And how the new system seems to be working, you potentially could use Maul in a rebel force, which would be hilarious.
And of course, there was another big surprise confirmed during one of their streams. We all know what the year after next is, don't we?
Yes, it's the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. And may I say, I'm beyond excitement when they said we're going to do battle boxes.
The battle boxes we'll get to, because I'm really interested in.
And they're going to do themed ones, and there will be Hoth ones. I'm just over the moon for everything.
But I was thinking more the fact is the army that they mentioned, or the minis that they said they've sculpted and are coming. We are getting Ewoks.
Yes. Which was one of the, I think that was the second to last thing they actually confirmed on the last stream.
It was actually the first thing they confirmed. In their coming. What they did was they said is we don't normally do this because we normally work, as we all know, 18 months to 2 years ahead. So stuff that they're working on now won't come out until 2022, 2023.
But what did they mention after Evox? I can't really tell.
That was when they started talking about Battle Force.
Yeah, but those battle forces are. What I meant was in relationship to Return of the Jedi.
Oh, it was just Ewoks for Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, that's the thing I meant, and
then
the battle forces will be themed for Battle of Hoth, and we're getting an Imperial and a Rebel set. That's, I'm guessing, new miniatures. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I would say new miniatures and probably new stat cards for some stuff as well. Pardon me, because you will be getting, the theme for those areas. Also, they said they're going to do a 501st, which is really interesting. That means we might get a new Rex sculpt. We might get command.
Likely.
It needs a new sculpt, I think, to be honest. We might get a Commander Cody.
Maybe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I've heard them say that these boxes are, in a way, a new low-level entry point for new players.
Yeah, that's the plan, is create a new theme box for a new entry. But what's going to be interesting, I think, as well, and I'm wondering, because these are themed, I'm wondering if they do something with the 501st one, which is going to be, can only run Anakin. If you're going to run a Jedi, some sort of restriction to say the only Jedi that you can run with the 501st is Anakin, to theme it around the fact that was, Anakin's, unit, Anakin's force, or have something built around Order 66, where if you're running, say, a 501st or a force like that, and if it's not Vader, which means you could possibly run Vader with the 501st, that would be interesting.
Wasn't the 501st the unit that was center of Star Wars Battlefront, the original one?
I think so. It's Vader's fist, is what it is. It's Vader's own, Stormtrooper unit, and the derivative from the clone unit, which was Rex's unit. But I'm wondering if they do the 501st one. We don't know. We have no idea. But imagine if you were able to run operative Vader, because he's not as powerful as full-on Vader, as the commander for the 501st box. That would be interesting.
That's something that could happen, I guess. But since they did wouldn't that mean that they either need to find a box that is a counterweight to that, or are they trying to get away from these balanced releases?
I'm wondering if they're trying to get away from balanced releases and just having themed releases around, say, 1 month, you'll get a collection of minis that are within this, instead of, say, within the time period, just he has a battle box, say, for clones, he has a battle box for rebels. That's, say, 1 month. Another month you'll get, say, a CIS one and a thingy one. A rebel one or an Imperial one, something like that, where I'm wondering if they're trying to get away from that, or try to do, or because I think the Kashyyyk theme has been very popular, is building it around those type of things.
Could be. I think time will tell. I hope within the next 3 months we'll get some more information out of them.
Well, they seem to know where they're going now, and I think there was a lot of limbo, wasn't there? At the start, and I think now they know exactly. I think now they've got rid of, or they've virtually released everything that was done under the FFG license.
And everything that has been developed under FFG and the old team. And time will tell if that's for the better part or not, that they parted with ways with Luke and the others. Will be remaining to be seen. Oh God, I can't talk today. Not that I could.
And then they were talking about organized play as well, and then they got on to scenarios.
Yeah, they are committed on doing those again once it's viable to be together. And they also said that the invitations you've earned from the last FFG events in 19 and 20, those will be honored.
Yeah.
So if you're still wanting to come, you'll be allowed to come.
Yeah.
Before we get on too far, let's have a step back, because not only did they talk about a lot of Legion, but they showed a ship for X-Wing, which
Yes.
I have to say, I think I'll need to break my not buying X-Wing stuff run for that one ship.
Was that silver ship that they showed us that got blown up in season 2?
Perhaps. Maybe. So X-Wing is getting the Silver Crest.
Razor.
Yeah. Why do I keep
that
seeing?
ship.
Yeah, it's got a nice silvery post, and yeah.
It's a nice sculpt, actually. It really is.
Yeah, and I think it. I didn't look too closely, but I think it's going to be a medium-sized ship.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
same as Slave 1 and the Falcon.
No, the Falcon is a big ship.
Is the Falcon class a big ship? Is it? All right. Slave 1's a medium ship, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And also the shuttle and the.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I just looked behind me, and the Falcon and the Ghost have big bases.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it was nice. I mean, they teased that at the beginning of the week, didn't they, when they were dropping some pictures off?
Yes. I don't think
it was
I'll be
inevitable,
going back into that game, but just for having it on display, I need that.
I think that's a rabbit hole maybe not go to until they decide to fix what issues there is.
Yeah, they said they will be reworking point costs as well, so I'm a bit nervous when they start revamping rule set, but they also said for Legion they would be doing a errata set, but they wouldn't be making it completely new, but they would clarify some things in the rulebook that had been not clear.
Yeah, they are. There's an errata. Well, they said they don't like using erratas because it is supposed to be a living game, isn't it? Really, it's like a living card game almost.
Living rulebook.
Chess game. It's a living rulebook. They said they're going to be doing that for Legion with new point costs, and I think when that comes out, there'll be the spaces, or they'll have the text in ready, maybe not, for what is meant by the new mercenary and independent rules.
Yeah, I just hope that these texts won't be, let's say, too full of holes and loopholes and possible things that break the game.
Very, very true. But speculation station, bad batch box, yes or no?
I'd say very likely. And I wouldn't call it bad batch box. Maybe something like Clone Wars box.
Yeah, Clone Wars.
Because you could fit them in this.
Clone Force 99. Clone Force 99, you could call it.
Yeah, but if you call it Clone Wars, just you could also put in there persons like Ahsoka.
Well, that was the one I was about to get to, where they dropped that at the end of a stream, didn't he? It was like, oh yeah, Ahsoka confirmed. Right,
have you seen the chat that went before?
No.
So I was watching the live stream as it was live, and they were talking about, and then they got into, we are going to get into this uncomfortable territory and talk about things that we are currently working on. And chat was going, Ahsoka, please confirm Ahsoka. And the chat was going mental. Then they confirmed Ewoks incoming.
Yeah.
Which was hilarious. And just 2 minutes before they cut stream, and Ahsoka confirmed.
It was like, what? Now, I mentioned to you, was that just them trolling people? You know, or is this like a Dave Filoni thing? You know,
no, I don't think so. I think the guys are very, very careful of what they say. I think they know you can tease TV watching audiences. You can't tease wargamers. That's in that road lies madness and pain. So I'm guessing
we need to get some t-shirts to AMG with Ahsoka confirmed on it, a bit like the Ahsoka Lives Dave Filoni one he had done.
Yeah,
Which was hashtag Ahsoka Lives. That was it.
yeah, and the thing is, seeing that they do the Mandalorian in its completeness with everything in both game systems that are currently running, I'd say they'd be hard pressed to not do Ahsoka because she's in Clone Wars, she's in the Mandalorian, so why wouldn't they?
And also they've got a template of a mini that they can resculpt or that they can use to build a really good model off, and that's the one from Imperial Assault.
Oh, and even if they do redo their modelings, I think they've shown that they are very competent in doing the models.
Does that mean then we get two versions of Ahsoka?
I can't see why not. We've got two versions of Boba Fett now. We've got two versions of.
What I mean by two versions is, I mean two versions in the same box. So we get a young version and an old version.
I don't think that the model itself would be displaying so much differently.
It's a height thing more than anything.
Yeah, I don't think so. We would get those two, maybe, but that would
actually there's some differences, because if you do the young version of Ahsoka from the beginning of Clone Wars, the outfits and everything is completely different to what she wore in season 7 and then what she wore in Rebels.
Yeah, but at that point she's just an attachment to Anakin, so I don't think that would be a viable playable character in the game at any point. So I'm guessing if they were to do Ahsoka, it would be at the end of Clone Wars and the adult version from The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I think as well as that'll be what they'll do, is they will do the adult version of Ahsoka from season 7, because then that allows painters to paint their clone forces up as the 323 they were called?
Oh, I couldn't tell you.
But you know where you've got the orange helmet and the 501st blue with the orange helmet. So you know, and then she would become I'm assuming they'll make that as a commander figure, not an operative. I would assume, but never know. Maybe you get twin stat cards, one for commander, one for operative, and if you run as you can run it as an operative to have Anakin in charge. So you could do Ahsoka and Anakin with a bunch of clones.
Yeah, I'm guessing they've opened themselves up to a big portion of possibilities on how to make things work in the upcoming.
Definitely, and I assume with the Book of Boba on its way, in season 2 of the Bad Batch, season 3 of the Mandalorian, the Ahsoka TV series, the possibility of Rangers of the New Republic coming up, they've got a lot of stuff to do before.
Yeah, and I think primarily they'll need to focus on 2023 with the 40th anniversary, because I think fans would be very upset if that doesn't get enough mentioning.
Enough love. Imagine this as a leader for the Scum faction, Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, I was saying something about that just after stream, and Jabba would be he would be one of those leaders that wouldn't lead from the front.
No, he'd be a bit like the Emperor.
He would sit on his throne somewhere on the battle board and just say, "Yeah, you go there and die." And then we could have Bib Fortuna as well, and we could have Gamorrean guards.
Yeah, because you could run Gamorreans as
same
as the Magna
You know
Guard.
what I just thought of?
What? Rancor.
Skiff barges.
Yes. Yep. Skiff barges. Jabba on a skiff. Yeah. Or Jabba on a small hovering thing. But you could then, you could run for large minis. And I mean large, probably something half the size of an AT-AT. Rancor.
Yeah. Would be the size of an AT-AT roughly, so would work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, there's an idea for a terrain piece they could put out.
Yeah, a Rancor.
No, the Sarlacc pit.
Oh, the pit. Yeah, the Picker Carcoon. So you could do that. You could have
Oh,
from
and
a
since we
point of view.
already got the bunker that's officially from
Yeah,
FFG, we could
yeah.
now get the radar dish station.
That might be the train piece they decide to do if they do one for 40th anniversary. Yeah. I'm surprised they don't need to. They'd probably go hard plastic, wouldn't they? But I'm surprised they may not have dropped in to do what you call it,
MDF?
done it in MDF. Yeah.
No, I think MDF is a completely different beast. I don't think they will go there at any time soon. And the only
Yeah.
reason would be that I think that those kits, as good as they look generally, I don't think they live up to the high standards that Disney is having on their merchandise.
Oh yeah, yeah, very true.
Because the only thing I could think of about the top of my head besides Lego are these metal bendy things. These models, and they still look quite round and awesome. But everything else, I can't think of one IP from Star Wars that has been done in MDF.
Yeah,
Other than
true.
that, take another big IP that is Harry Potter. You get those in MDF officially.
Yeah, yeah,
Bake
from
some
Night Models. Well, the Arkham. Did you ever see the Arkham Asylum? They did Night Models.
no.
They did a full-on Arkham Asylum, like the facade
Mhm.
and everything of Arkham with the towers and the fencing and everything, all in MDF. It was all an MDF kit that you could buy through Night Models. It was impressive. It really was. Looked really nice. Very
Yep.
expensive,
But I don't think
that's
that Disney is doing MDF in any
no,
shape or form currently.
Disney will want plastic and stuff, won't they?
Yeah.
Um,
And
but
let's face it, if it's official, it needs to be plastic.
yeah, but the whole scum and villainy, or the whole scum or Shadow Collective or whatever you want to call them, just opens up, a plethora of opportunities, I think, for gaming. And I don't think, and this is just where my brain's going at the moment, is I don't think they'll touch the sequel trilogy until they need to.
Yeah, if they ever will.
Yeah, if they ever will.
So the Shadow Collective was the title for the box, and I think they were going referring to the faction, quote unquote, as mercenaries.
Yes.
They stayed away from the name Scum and Villainy for whatever
Yes.
reason, which somehow annoyed me the whole time, because if you've got this faction that is called Scum and Villainy, why not just stick with it? But I guess they have different plans than they did on X-Wing, or maybe
Yeah.
X-Wing gets another revamp.
Well, I mean, it depends what they decide to do, doesn't it? We know that Armada's on a hiatus.
Yeah.
We know X-Wing's getting the Mando Razor Crest, and it's more what.
Though the Mandalorian ship on X-Wing could be just a sign of, we don't know what to do. We've got this. Let's use this.
Yeah, I mean, it's possibly more the fact is we've got the license. People are crying out for Mandalorian stuff. Let's give them something before 2022.
And let's face it, there isn't very much left ship-wise. They could still make. So
did we get the Mandalorian fighters? Did we get the Blade fighters in X-Wing?
Yes. I think yes.
Because when they were talking about, like, when they showed off Boba, and they talked about getting stuff for the Mando, and they mentioned Moff Gideon as well. So the Empire's going to have a new leader character possibly in Moff Gideon, which would be an interesting one. Holding the Darksaber probably. They mentioned 2020, possibly late 2022 for that. I think they'll aim for 2022 because that's when season 3 is going to come, and they may want to try and time it. The release of the Mandalorian miniatures with the release of season 3 of the Mando.
Yeah, could be. So I was just looking up, and the Fang class is, I think, what you're meaning,
Yes,
and I'm pretty sure those had been seen on X-Wing.
On the whole, it was a good 3 days.
Yeah, and how to phrase that? They did improve on the technical aspect.
Oh yeah.
If you compare that to the last MiniStravaganza they did at the start of the year.
Which was a cluster.
Though we still had some issues at times with microphones from different people, but I think that's technology for you.
Yeah, you're still going to get that with streaming. I think there's going to be no perfect stream unless you have a dedicated studio and the gear's constantly tested and all of that stuff.
Yeah, and I think given the circumstance that we are lacking major events this year,
yeah,
I think this was a very good thing. I know that most people would have liked something more interactive, but then again, I'd say no.
Yeah, I think having more interactivity or having more engagement where people can ask questions and stuff like that.
Having a question and answers panel, I think, would have been nice, but something like playing with the devs or something you would be feasible at a real life convention to see there's somebody who's sculpting all these things, and now you can make a one-on-one with him with this short game. Yeah, that's nice, but having that not be online is good.
You sort of get that with the painting streams because they do watch the live chat and the painting streams and do answer questions and stuff when they're busy painting. Like
what I found a bit irritating is there was an event running during this MiniStravaganza weekend, and they didn't really mention it more than once or twice, which I found a bit weird.
Which one was that?
Yeah, so they uploaded a scenario rules for X-Wing, for Armada, and for Legion to play at home and to report results in. But that somehow, I think that went totally under the bus. And also that's something where I was, it's nice that you're doing this, but what about those people all at home that currently can't get away and play? There's no way in participating in this.
Yeah, I think it's a balancing act. I think in the current climate, isn't it?
I think in the grand scheme of things, the idea of having an event running that's worldwide and reporting results back end is a great idea, but they shouldn't have just limited it to these 3 days. That's a thing you can make on a different time scale and say, from, let's say, in the month of March or May 2022, there will be doing this global event, and you can have games with your friends and report in, and every week we will do a analysis of the data, and then we'll give out regulations regarding on what units you can use and which ones you can't use, and from that point on we will deciding the fate of the galaxy.
Or the fate of a planet, or
similar like to what Games Workshop had done in the past with their global events.
You mean when Games Workshop were nice to the community?
Yes.
I'm using nice in a relative term, okay?
So, what upcoming release has you the most excited?
I'm interested in the battle boxes, for the themed force boxes, especially around the clones and stuff, to see what they do, because if they're doing the 501st, we may end up getting the other clone forces, so we may end up getting Rex. We may end up getting Wolf, so we might get a Plo Koon and Wolf, for the Wolf pack. We may get a Cody. I know you can model them now pretty much with, you can take an ARC box and a Phase 2 clone box and mash them together, which I've done, to make, different minis, kit bashing. But I think, I'm interested in what they're going to do with that. Yes, I'm interested in seeing what they do for the Mando, to see, how are they just going to be individual figures, or are we going to get, like force boxes? So maybe get the Magistrate. That would be an interesting one, wouldn't it? The Magistrate with her gunslinging sidekick and the 2 droids plus a bunch of goons.
Yeah, I can see that.
That would be an interesting one. I think as a force box, for you could class that as an independent. You could class that as a mercenary unit.
You just gave me an idea for another force box,
which
from
is
the Mandalorian. The client and his
of
rundown stormtroopers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that force that could be a separate.
Having stormtroopers that aren't as good
yeah.
as the original ones because they are run down or something, and make them cheaper at the same time.
Yeah, so it's a bit like that points difference between Phase 1 and Phase 2 clones.
Something like that, yeah.
I just want them to fix the fact that Phase 2 clones can use the DC-15X, the long gun.
Yeah.
Because there's pictures of Phase 2 clones using it.
Oh, and there's one unit we forgot to mention that they confirmed that is coming.
Which one's that?
Shiny automated killing machines.
Which droids was it?
No. Think Mandalorian?
Shiny automated killing machines. You mean apart from IG-11?
Yes. Think Dark Forces.
Oh, yes, the Dark Troopers.
Yes, we're getting Dark Troopers.
Which is going to be, of course, probably... I wonder if they'll run them like Magna Guard and put them as a bodyguard and give them the bodyguard stat like Magna Guard. Which means I think
they will be more or less run like Death Guard. Death Troopers. Because they're independent, they're not covering anybody. They're not out to protect, they're just mean machine attacking.
Yeah, maybe. It depends. They may run them like that, but give them the bodyguard or the guard.
They could have the keyword.
Yeah. Is it guard?
Yep.
Word.
I think so.
Have that on the card. Where they can be used as a bodyguard in unit for Moff Gideon.
And while we're on the subject of keywords, the one new thing they're implementing is AI.
Yes.
Which I think is an interesting take on robotics.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's. From what they showed and from what we know what we're getting at the back end of this year. We know what's coming. We know the Fluttercraft and the
destroyer tank.
The destroyer tank, the Fluttercraft, the Wookiees destroyer tank, the support
spider droid,
and the support unit and the spider droids. We know that's what's left to come out
and
this year.
The weapons platform.
Yeah, the weapons platform. We know all that's due now to the end of the year. Tankers and plastics and COVID permitting. And then it's early next year, I guess, Adepticon, which is early in the year. And any of the cons there, but I'm wondering next March whether if there's still no cons being run at the moment, then do they then do another mini extravaganza and show off what's coming?
I'd say if they keep doing MiniStravaganza twice a year and in a 6-month interval, I think that would be interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That would keep people up. Hunting season was the event called.
Yeah. But it's interesting. I mean, now that we've seen, large what's due and what they're capable of doing, because the thing I noticed, which I mentioned to you, was they showed off, even though they didn't really mention it, it was a Quinjet, which is the Avengers jets, as a terrain piece.
Mm.
And that was on the Crisis Protocol board that they were playing on.
I think they had shown off that thing before, but I can't really remember when.
I'm not sure, but it just shows that they have, and we know they're capable of doing big plastic. So I'm hoping that we will get a proper lat gunship at some point, because I wouldn't mind seeing that in plastic.
Yeah, and since that's more or less the size of the Rebel Trooper and the current
It's a
LAT.
little bit bigger than the standard lat in sort of width, because it's got the wings and stuff on.
Yeah, but that's just
Things.
a wee bit bigger.
Yeah, it's just a wee bit, yeah. But I'd like to see them do that, which means if they're capable of doing that, we might see Imperial vehicles, bigger Imperial vehicles turning up.
If they bring out an 8080, I want my Star Wars Epic Legion. I'm going to die on that hill.
Stake your claim.
I'm not giving up hope on that one. Though
you never know if they decide to do, say, as part of the 40th anniversary, they do the radar station with the big tower and stuff. You never know. You might get it as a terrain piece.
Yeah, and to be fair, they did do the ATST also as a terrain piece, but I think it will be horribly overpriced.
Oh, no doubt. You're probably talking €80, I would have thought. Because what's the lat? The lat's €50, isn't it?
Yeah, currently it's going up in price. Asmodee Germany has just a week ago confirmed that throughout every aspect of thing that is coming in from outside Europe, it's 7 to 10% increase.
Oof.
Due to shipping costs, raising materials, but I'm guessing it's mainly the shipping cost that is currently driving prices.
Shipping by the sounds of it, because there's a lack of
containers.
Yes.
Because for some weird reasons, containers seem to be a one-way ticket. Because they can't ship, or they won't ship empty containers back to the country of origin.
Yeah.
And since everybody is just importing from China and nobody is exporting to China, the empty containers are starting to stack up.
Yeah. So we know that there's definitely shipping issues around the world.
Yeah, it doesn't help if some weird moron tries to do a 180 in the canal.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. But it's going to happen. Things are going to get delayed. Things are just chaos. But I am now more, where we as a community, and where I'm coming from. This is, we do take the Michael out of their, shall we say, that the ability to, or lack of ability to get merchandise to people.
Yeah.
And that was pre-Atomic Mass games. Since Atomic Mass have taken over, they seem to have fixed it seems to have eased a little bit, but there still is a shortage, shall we say, of stuff. But I am optimistic in what they're trying to release and what's coming out.
I think maybe that's one of the reasons why they put Armada on a hold, because they simply can't make. I don't know how the processing actually works for AMG. I'm guessing they have one or maybe two vendors or manufacturers in China that are producing things, and since they stopped making new stuff, there's no need of developing new tooling and everything, so they can simply say, now use the free resources you have and crank out more of Legion and X-Wing so we can satisfy demand. Yeah.
Predominantly with Legion. I think there's more demand for Legion than X-Wing, I think.
I think Legion and Marvel Crisis Protocol are the two main driving sales behind Atomic Mass games at the current moment.
What was interesting is, I think it was, I can't remember, it might have been Jerry mentioned it on OTT, but I think it was mentioned elsewhere, there's like 100 minis now for Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Yeah, that's Jerry's wording from the Weekender, and I think he also mentioned it on the official Hobby Hangout.
Yeah.
The starter boxes had a lot of miniatures.
Yes.
And since then they did a lot of additional work, and now there's ample to choose from.
Yeah, because there's no need to have a starter box, which is, I think, how they're going to be doing it with. I think they've taken that Marvel Crisis Protocol idea of, you've got your starter boxes, fine, but you want a battle force. You don't want everything, all of the bits. There you go.
Yeah, we'll see how Atomic Mass Games ventures on with it. Generally speaking, what excites me the most is yeah, I'm truly excited for what they think of for the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, simply because that's a movie that's very dear to my heart, even though it's only one of the better Star Wars, not the best Star Wars in my opinion. But I hope that they get interesting things done. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure as hell will get myself some Ewoks. There's no doubt about that. But to
Very
be
little on
honest,
this.
currently, release wise, I'm more excited for the stuff they will be putting out from The Mandalorian. Simply because it's a grown up version, for the lack of a better word.
Yeah, yeah. It's not your traditional Star Wars, shall we say?
Yeah, it's a bit more gritty. We have progression in characters, and the progression of the characters we've seen in The Mandalorian that were prior seen in the original trilogy and even the prequels feels natural and like it could have happened that way.
Yeah.
While the sequels at points feel a bit forced.
They're aimed at a different audience,
Yeah, it's just
not our audience.
wait. I think it lends itself better to miniature wargaming because simply we're all old farts now.
Yes, it's that demographic. The sequel trilogy was aimed at a specific demographic, and we know.
Yeah, we've said that before. The movies are made for children at that point when the movie were made. So the original trilogy was made for the children that were my age and more or less your age. The prequels were made for people that are in their 30s now, and the sequels were made for persons and peoples that are around close to 20 at the moment. Maybe.
Yeah,
bordering on adolescence.
Yeah, definitely. Different horses for different courses. Is the way to sort of mention it. It's going to be interesting, and I think they knew that people had been clamoring for Mando releases for a long time. People have been asking them, I think, constantly. In live streams. And they're painting things, Mando, and I think
I've tried to stay awake, but away from that topic. But since you keep backing back to Mandalorian, will they do a Cara Dune character? Will they go for that whole planet with the what's his face, the mayor?
You mean Navarro?
Yeah.
Has she been completely scrubbed from everything?
Well, that would be very hard since the series is still running.
Exactly. The series is on. She hasn't been scrubbed. They haven't physically said she didn't exist in the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
She is in the Art of the Mandalorian book, because I've got it here, which is it's a really nice book. There's rumors circulating every 2 to 3 weeks that she's going to get rehired. So, watch this space. They may do it. They may relinquish.
I think it could be one of those weird ways where they would introduce the character but make sure that the likeness of the actress is evaded at some point so that they can say, yeah, we have the character of Cara Dune, but that's not the actress.
I don't know, because, well, I must admit the Han Solo mini doesn't really look like Harrison Ford. The Luke Skywalker mini doesn't look like Luke. It doesn't look like Mark Hamill.
Yeah, and I think that's debatable if that's down to the sculptor not being able, or if there are some contractual obligations. There might be
some sort of contractual thing. But also, I think Cara Dune turned up in some of the comics. The character's still around. The character's going to turn up in other things, I think they said. I think they're just laying low with it, which is stupid.
Yeah.
We know our opinion on the whole thing, but
I think as a character in Legion, she would be a very good sidekick for the Mandalorian.
Yeah, should also make a great officer for a rebel unit. Shove her with some rebel commandos or pathfinders. Yeah. Why not? I think we'll see a Fennec Shan, and we'll definitely see a Bo-Katan Kryze and probably Koska Reeve.
That's
I think
very
we'll see
possible.
them. I think we'll definitely see a Bo-Katan, I think.
I think Bo-Katan is a given, giving the fact how many variation of Mandalorians are already on the table. It would be very weird to have her not on the table, especially since she also was part of the Mandalorian.
Yeah. You know, I mean, season 7 of the Clone Wars, season 2 of the Mandalorian. Yeah, we're going to see a Bo. We're going to see a Koska. We'll probably see a what's his face? I can't remember the name of the male character.
Yeah, who cares? He's dead.
You'll probably see a Trapper Wolf. We'd probably see a what you call it as well. What's his face? Dave Filoni's got Trapper Wolf, and the other one, the captain, the rebel pilot captain.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Olsung, the guy from Kim's Convenience. That's a big.
Though I don't know if they actually lend themselves as being characters in a infantry battle game.
Well,
maybe as a pilot card.
As a pilot card, or as a ground force leader. You know, if we're talking about the Mando and we think about where they were going to go with Cara Dune and those characters, well, especially thing that was leading into, I think, Rangers of the New Republic. So you could probably have them as troop leaders for rebel fleet troopers.
Possible. I was just wondering if AMG needs to have 12 to 18 months lead up to build something. Do they have insights into things like where is the third season of Mandalorian going to have some points of reference to get potentially more units from?
Maybe Disney might have gotten them to sign an NDA over that, but I would be surprised if they have got anything yet, because they're busy. They're going to be, there's quite a bit in season 1 and quite a bit in season 2 for them to bring out.
Yeah, they sure have not been on the short end of the stick receiving inspiration for things.
Yeah, so there's enough inspiration out there, and then when it drops, you know, the thing is, when a trailer drops, they can probably start work straight away.
Yeah, possible.
So they can work off a very, a rough trailer to say, oh, well, what's that character? Then maybe speak with Disney over that, say we want to bring this character. Because I'm assuming they have to have that approval from Disney saying, we want to bring these characters out.
I think Disney, that's a given that they need to have information. I once talked about things modeling wise to Sarastro, who is a very prominent painter of things that were from Fantasy Flight and Atomic Mass games. And at one point I was asking him, why don't you do some conversions of models that they lend themselves to? And he was saying, yeah, I need to get approved, my videos approved by FFG/Disney/AMG, so I can't do much.
Yeah, because I think he was, I don't know if he still is, but I'm wondering if when Legion first came out, he was the guy that they sent the starter box over to paint when they were demoing it.
He still has things way in advance, because the Yoda that is still out to be released.
Oh yeah, he's done a painting.
He already did a painting job on 2 versions, so
yeah, he's done a lizard from a Marvel Crisis Protocol. I don't know if the lizard's out yet.
Yeah, he definitely is still very close with FFG/AMG on those things, and I say FFG because he's also doing board gamey stuff.
Yeah, he does Descent and does Lord of the Rings game.
Lord of the Rings, yeah. So I'm guessing that's the reason why he's trying to keep a low profile and not annoy the mouse.
Yeah, that's there's enough inspiration, I think, for painters and stuff out in the YouTube land.
Yeah.
To think, oh, there's enough inspiration in just Star Wars generally. I mean, I'm looking at painting my AT-RT troopers, but I'm tempted to do them as the scout, like the scout looked in the Battle of Kashyyyk. They're doing the camo.
Speaking of references, I totally forgot that I had 3 books that I way back in the day bought for a very cheap price. They were on the sale. They look not like much from the outside, but those are the complete what do you call them? Scripts they used at filming.
Yeah, the script books.
Yeah, and inside them, there's not only the scripts, but also very an ample amount of concept paintings.
Yeah.
Nothing that actually made it to movie, but just the things that were there in advance, and there's so much interesting stuff in there.
Well, a lot of it is Ralph McQuarrie art, isn't it? Anyway.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it is Ralph McQuarrie's art, and I've got some huge, great big what have I got? In the back there, I've got a huge. I've got the portfolios. I managed to pick these up, and it's a portfolio of Star Wars, a portfolio of concept art, a portfolio of Star Wars, a portfolio of Empire Strikes Back, portfolio of Return of the Jedi, and it's all McQuarrie art in the Star Wars one. So it's the original Chewbacca, which we know is what's his face from Rebels. The Lasat, I can't remember his name now. It's all of that type of thing, like Luke with the strange sort of backpack thing, mask, fighting a Vader, so
Obi-Wan looking like a Zen master.
And we know, I mean, the Mandalorian's rifle and the blurgs were all from the holiday special animated short, so
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of concept art that went into Mandalorian. We've talked about that before.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be one that we might get. A Krull on Blurg.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Getting the Blurgs. Get a couple of Blurgs in a cart, and you can do Caravan of Courage.
Yeah, and then having games running where everybody's saying all the time, "This is the way," and I've spoken.
Yes, that's going to be the annoying thing, isn't it? Really, in games. Shut up.
Yeah, there will be a command card saying "I have spoken."
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm mostly looking for what my takeaway from this weekend was. Mostly, I'm much more relaxed when it comes to the future of Legion, because I feel they actually have a vision and a more or less clear path on how to achieve what they want to do. As before, I was a bit worried because of the lack of communication and the weirdness that is their homepage and the often on oddly feeling streams they did.
Yeah,
it was almost always a hit and miss. Either they had a nice stream where you could sit and watch, or it was mostly the battle reports where it was just thinking, no, please stop talking.
But it was interesting, and it was a good weekend. And I think now, we know that they have a plan for. They definitely have a plan for where they're going with Legion, which is good to know. I think this past year has been, we've got the license. Let's get the things out that we need to get out to finish off that agreement with FFG,
and also
now we can move forward.
And also, they keep stressing that, yes, we want this to get into your hands as fast as possible, but we won't crush ourselves to get things done just to have them done. We will release them when they're ready, which is a good sentiment. And also the repeated reminder, there is a pandemic. There are delivery issues. When things don't get here in time, we can't help it. We feel sad too. Please be patient.
Yeah, the thing around that, it's the stuff that we know. It's the standard, thing that we've been living with for over 18 months now. So,
and it will be some 6 to 12 more.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, unless you work in IT, which could be even longer.
IT has been the same in the last 18 years, so.
It's the what we call it, the what's the thing I'm thinking of? The lack of chips, shall we say, for
Yeah,
for IT.
semiconductors.
Yes, yes. I have a request in at work to get a work laptop because I don't have one. Every day I get an email from the job logging system going on order with our supplier. No release, no time day left from
Yeah,
our supplier.
it's
So
if
it's
you
the
want
same
a decent working machine, you're currently shit out of luck.
pretty much.
But it's not just IT. Car industry as well is pretty much fucked.
Yeah, everything is just completely screwed over the fact that there is a lack of computer chips in the world.
Yeah, it's not going
That's why
well.
people can't get their PS5s to run Knights of the Old Republic remake on.
Oh god, please don't get me started on that. Okay, since you brought that up,
Oh dear.
so just as a closing word, Atomic Mass Games, well done for your weekend. Please, more of this, but don't feel pressured. Still do epic Star Wars Legion, otherwise I will find you. So Sony, of all things, teased a new game release that is somewhere in the future. They didn't give any specifics.
No, they didn't.
And they called it Knights of the Old Republic Remake.
Yes, it's a remake of the first one.
Yeah, and that word strikes fear.
Well, no, have you not seen what they did with Legendary Edition of Mass Effect?
No, I didn't.
They re-released the 3 Mass Effect games and Andromeda in a box called Legendary Edition. But what they've done was they upped the graphics. They basically tidied it up. They brought it up to the standard so it would look as it should look if it was released now on modern consoles.
But is
PC.
that really a remake or a remaster?
Well, they called it Legendary Edition, so they didn't actually say what.
Yeah, what it was. This is why remake strikes fear into my heart. If they would have called it remastered, we know they would only up the visuals more or less. I'd be totally fine with that. But they said they are going to do changes to the gaming system, which can be a hit or miss. And here's a quote: "The story will be mostly left unchanged."
Yeah, there was some issues with some of the parts of the story, some of the side stuff. There was
but I don't think that's what they're referring to.
Well, we don't know. We really don't know.
But that's a door that's open. That's wide open. And
well, the thing is, as well, is they haven't said if it's coming on PC.
It is on PC.
They're doing it on PC as well.
The trailer said PlayStation, but if you go to the developer with his ASPI or something,
yes,
there it said PC and PlayStation.
Right. Oh well, that's good enough.
Yeah, but still, and what made it even worse is that the developer, the story person they hired, had been very heavily against the original Knights of the Old Republic. There were some very harsh words.
Well, so I guess to be honest, we'll see. It was nice to see, it was nice to, people have been asking for it. And the community had, for it. And, so, with them doing Mass Effect.
I'm not going to lie. The moment they showed it, the music, the tension, that gave me really goosebumps, and I was really, oh yes, please. But the more I think of it, the more I'm getting scared that they will blow it.
I don't know, because I mean, you've got coming. We've had what you call it. We've had the Mass Effect remaster or the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. We've got Diablo 2 Resurrected coming, which is a remastered and upgraded version of Diablo 2. We've got this on the horizon whenever this is going to turn up, and I'm assuming it's probably going to be 2023, maybe back end of next year.
I think if it were that close, they would have said 2023, but they didn't mention anything. I'm guessing 24 or even later.
Well, we really don't know. I mean, it depends what they're doing. If they're doing a spit and polish on it, then that's fine. They'd want to keep it within the PlayStation 5 release window. So it's probably going to be, might be end of next year, beginning of 2023, I think. Because if we start heading into 2024, that's when you're probably going to get the PS6. You know, to be honest, you know,
possibly.
it's the cycle of the console cycle. But you know, it was nice to see, because a lot of people I saw that were watching the streams, you know, for the Sony day, thought it was going to be Fallen Order 2. A lot of people thought it was like a teaser for Fallen Order 2, until we saw Revan and then the logo, because we know there's a Fallen Order 2 coming. As well. So,
but that just as a short side note, I'd be happy if they would just up it and it would be more or less the same it was before. I reserve judgment until we know details.
Yeah. I'm wondering if they're going to try and fix or retcon or fix some of the issues that came from Sith Lords, and have a more linking narrative maybe to link with Sith Lords, because Sith Lords was a bit of a mess. The sequel to it.
We shall see what they will make from it.
It's going to be interesting, because you know we've got Fallen Order 2. We know that Ubisoft are working on a Star Wars game as well.
Yeah, since EA doesn't have the exclusive license anymore, and thank God for that.
We might actually get some decent games. You know,
yeah.
Give me an Assassin's Creed Star Wars game. Thank you very much.
And anybody still working on 1313, please raise your hand.
Yeah, can we have 1313 but done as an Assassin's Creed style game?
Yeah. So,
you know, I mean, Fallen Order was fine, but you know, it was very much, there was none of that. It was very linear. You know, there was not a lot of exploration. Well, there was some exploration, but you know,
it's an action corridor game.
Yeah.
What did you expect?
Yeah, so you know, I mean, it was there, but yeah, please, anything else will be really useful. But I think that's it really for Star Wars this week.
More or less, yes. And I think we're just short about our tightly scripted 30 minutes. I'd say we'll wait with bated breath what comes next out the door from AMG. I'm hoping it's not too long. And I'm still waiting for the release of the Wookiees that are on pre-order on my side. And any day now there should be Star Wars Talisman arriving.
Oh yeah, you ordered that, didn't you?
Yeah, last week they announced, okay, it's available now, so I'm guessing my friendly, not local game store is having it in his possession by this or next week, and then I'll get my grubby little hands on it.
It's good to know.
So, with all that said, I thank you lot out there on speakers, phones, mobile devices, whatever you're listening this to, for listening to us to ramble. I thank Ralph for being here.
My pleasure.
And I think that's it for today. And with all that, have a nice one. Stay safe, stay hydrated, remain indoors. Bye.